Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this afternoon, I'm joined by Rynard Landman, who is a professional rugby player. He's South African, spent some time in Wales, and is now spending the last few years of his career in France. How are you doing today, Rynard? You okay?
Very good, thanks. Busy with my 13th pre-season as a professional rugby player, so not getting easy at my age, I can promise you that. But yeah, enjoying the opportunity still to be able to run around, play with the ball, and what better place to be in the south of France?
Yes, it's a nice place to I take it, end your career, last few years.
Yes, well, I'm 34 now, turning 34 this Friday actually. So yeah, I've got another 2-year contract left, and then a potential +1. But see if the body can train. The matches is fine. See if the body can train still.
Yeah, definitely. Well, sometimes the brain wants you to keep going, but the knees or the back or somewhere else decides at some point that's it. I've had enough.
Yeah, exactly.
But it seems to be getting a little bit longer, every year, really, isn't it? Playing careers because of the advancement in sort of sports science and nutrition and all that sort of stuff. People can go a little bit further.
Yes, 100%. Especially in my position, I'm in the tight 5, and the league I'm playing in now. I'm, like I said, 34 now, and there's 3 forwards in my pack that's actually older than me. We still play 30 games a season, which is quite a lot more than we played in South Africa, to be fair. But basically the same amount that we play in the UK. But yeah, luckily for us, we play every Friday night. We got Saturdays and Sunday off. We got a Wednesdays off as well, so that helps a little bit to prolong the career. And obviously, the game is not so fast. We do find in the top 14, Pro 14, and Super Rugby, it's a little bit more slowly, a little bit more set piece orientated. Yeah. But the collisions are still big. Yeah. But all the new stuff, all the new diets coming up, and sports nutrition, good partnerships out there with a lot of teams. It just keeps the guys on top form and keep. As long as you're professional, you take all that stuff and you do what you do. You know your body at the end of the day. So if you want to keep yourself on top form and top notch, you can probably play till, like you said, till your knees and your shoulders don't want you anymore.
Yeah. It's usually the knees or the back or whatever goes eventually. But has the season finished now then? It wasn't delayed by COVID?
Yes, so we had 5 games left in the season. And then obviously everything stopped the 15th of March. With a potential return, but our season last season got cancelled then, and we're starting our new season of games in September, the second week in September, I think. So yeah, we had 3-4 months in home, then started pre-season again in small little groups. We're busy with week 6 now, I believe. We're obviously back in full training now. And France is basically open, so it's like it was before the confinement. So we're doing contact and scrums and lineouts and all that stuff already. So yeah, we'll be ready to go in September.
So has France not been affected as much? I haven't heard a lot about France from the UK. It's mostly been sort of Italy and Spain, obviously. And
the numbers are quite similar to the UK, which up until this last month really. So we got about 300, 400 almost now that's sick, and 30,000 that's people that have died. But they slowly started opening up everything, and now everything was open, like restaurants, cinemas, everything. And then obviously they got a huge spike in Brittany, France, when the borders opened. So we had all the new masks wearing, everything is brought back into it, but everything still stayed open. It was really strict the first 2 months, 3 months. I didn't really leave the house to go to the shop or anything for the first 13 weeks. It was just my missus that went out. The little one stayed at home. We had police on every roundabout here. You have to prove to them where you were going with signed papers. And so they were really, really strict. They cut the numbers down. And like I said, everything closed, everything open again. But the numbers are spiking a little bit now, which is worrying because I don't think mentally we can do a second wave.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be tough. Myself in particular, I quite enjoyed it. So, I've been working from home for coming up to 9 years. And so nothing's really changed for me. It's just everyone else has joined my world, So
well, that's good. If you can get the positive out of that, then everybody introduce to your world. That's fine.
Yeah, because normally when you're trying to get hold of other people and they're in their normal routine, they're on lunch breaks or they're like traveling to work or from work, and you can't get hold of people as much. But actually, everyone joined my world where you wake up and you're in work and you just keep working until the end of the day, then you go to sleep, sort of thing. Yeah. So it's easier. You can start ringing people at like 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Start pushing the boundaries a bit, and I do a bit of podcasting with people from. Like down under, etc. So I might do a podcast 8 o'clock in the morning because it's the end of the day for them.
Yeah.
So with me, I'm looking to become a global speaker. I am. So that's the reason I started my podcast in lockdown. And I'm just I'm a massive networker anyway. So I'm just speaking to all of my network, and my network's been growing much bigger because of the people I want to network with. I want to reach out and connect with as many people on the planet, and obviously now everyone's on Zoom and used to using it. It's been great for me,
100%. Yeah, I remember you being in the networking from Intrapers times in Wales at a few networking events that I joined over there. Yeah, so that's great. And what's a better place than rugby? Rugby combines people, rugby players know a lot of people, and if you can get the word out there, connect people, that's a way forward. And why not do it with the technology? I think in the future, probably most of the stuff will go that way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, rugby is a big family, isn't it? There's a lot of networking goes on in rugby, more so between like the players, the coaches, that sort of thing, than maybe as much as it could be with the sponsors and the corporates and stuff. But there's quite a lot of players do see the opportunity of life after rugby, if you like, when they see the sponsors, and a lot of them end up going to to events at the companies and then ended up taking jobs at the companies and that sort of thing, or being a figurehead for the companies and stuff. Yeah. I think there's definitely in most sports room for improvement in that, but I think just the same as it is in most businesses aren't very good at networking really either. You're either a good networker or you're not, but the more you put into it, since the lockdown now, I've been networking Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland. Intrapers have got 3 franchises now. They've got Cardiff, Swansea, and Sweden. So I do all of those events as well. And then I do another network event in Wales, and I do some. I used to do some real world networking in England, and I've done a couple of online events in England and stuff. So I've been on a couple of master classes in Canada and America. So
lockdown's been good.
Yeah. I've been on a podcast in Canada as well, because once you start podcasting, people get to know you or hear you from all over the place,
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's global,
I started listening to podcasts and stuff in the lockdown as well. Different podcasts, different audio books. Because when I listen to stuff,
Oh, we lost you a bit. Let's see if Rynard comes back. Yeah. We've got him frozen for a moment. Let me just see if he's going to come back. The joys of technology and podcasting. Wi-Fi can drop at any time. Looks like the French Wi-Fi's given up. We just whack it on. We'll put the conversation on pause and see if it resumes now when the Wi-Fi comes back. Yeah, the Wi-Fi's come back and Rynard is back in the game. Yes.
Off a little yellow card, came back in the game.
10 minutes in the sin bin. So you've been listening to quite a lot of podcasting and stuff. Yeah, it seems to be a very creative time for a lot of people. So a lot of people like myself, I started my podcast during lockdown. A lot of people have done similar things. Podcasting. And have you ever thought about doing some podcasting yourself? There's quite a lot of sports ones out there.
I've listened to a few stuff more of Robin Sharma. I'm listening to his because I started his book, The 5 a.m. Club. Yeah. So I thought, listen, we're going to change now because I was a rugby player. If you don't train during the day, you don't sleep a little bit late and get into a routine. But I said, while we have this change now in the lockdown, what are we going to do to change all this stuff? started waking up at 5 a.m., read his book, 5 a.m. Club, changed my life. And he's a humanitarian, so I am listening to his podcasts and stuff, listening to a few rugby podcasts, not as much, because I don't want to be busy with rugby all the time. I'd rather explore different stuff. I don't think my wife would appreciate me listening to rugby, watching rugby, and playing rugby at the same time. Yeah, but yes, I never thought of doing a podcast myself. Thanks for inviting me onto this one. It's definitely something I can look into in the future and explore that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think I think it's a good way to reach out, and it all depends what you're trying to do. Ultimately, I'm about trying to leave a legacy on this planet, trying to impact as many people as possible. So the reason I started my podcast is I like helping people anyway, and I thought during the lockdown there's going to be a lot of people probably with mental health issues and that sort of thing. So I thought, well, my podcast is aimed to be positive and motivational, inspiring. There's a lot of personal development in there. It's also because I'm entrepreneurial. There's business coaching in there, sales, marketing, networking, tips on all of that. But it's good. It's good to try and impact as many people as you can. And I think if you've got a voice and you've got a message, you might as well try and get it out there to as many people as possible. Yeah, so I was just saying about if you're trying to help people and you want to make leave a legacy and affect as many people as you can on the planet, podcast is a good way of doing that. If you've got a message to share and you want to reach people, then podcast is one of the fastest growing ways of doing that. Obviously, YouTube's another good way of doing that as well. That's the reason why I do my podcasts on Zoom, so I can put the audio on my podcast and the video on my YouTube.
Yeah, cool. No, 100%. And there's so much fun, people driving around, opportunity to listen to podcasts. Like I said, I take in the information a lot more.
Hello, everyone. It looks like we've lost Rynard. He was having some Wi-Fi issues, and we seem to have lost him now. So there's nothing else left for me to say. Other than he's on his way back in, I think. Here he comes. Let's see if he's back in again.
Hello.
Brexit. Hello. Yes. I think you was just about to say. You was just about to say you enjoy listening, as you were about to say. I think, as I said earlier, I like listening to audio on the podcast.
And once got a lot of time, the free time, you listen to the radio, listen to different stuff on the road, and going to. There's a lot of dead time. You can actually listen to podcasts and grow yourself.
I listen to a lot of personal development. I listen to a lot of audio books. People like Brian Tracy and Les Brown, Grant Cardone, people like that.
Oh, I love audiobooks. I got the subscription through Audible. I started The Alchemist last night. I got loads of feedback because I posted on social media, and I got a lot of feedback said best book they ever read, best book they ever read. I should read it, not listen to it. But I just take in stuff a lot more when I listen to it. I can go through the books and learn a lot quicker because I've got so much free time. Obviously, we're so busy. I train 3-4 times a day. I've got a 3-year-old at home, so I can't really be on the book. But if I listen to it in the background, I pick something up. And when I go to bed, when he goes to bed at night, I just listen to the audiobooks. It's just and the podcast.
I do the same. Go on.
Grow a little bit every day, and different people just helps me with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I listen in the car, and I also listen when I go for a run or if I go for a ride on the bike, that sort of thing. And you can with some personal development people and entrepreneurs and whatever. Some of them you pick up a little bit of gold nugget, so you pick up one or two great things that you think, I'll adopt that or I'll use that. And then with some of them, like one I met, which is Grant Cardone, he's like a blueprint to what I want to be like. He's living the life I want to live 10, 15, 20 years ahead of me. Hello? Hello, we got you back.
Oh, it's horrible. Sorry. I just put off the Wi-Fi and connected on my phone data, so I've got 4G on there. Hopefully that works better. Not sure what's going on with the signal.
No problem. It's been a bit stop-start, but that's life. It happens on ITV sometimes with Zoom calls.
Crazy, yeah. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, so yeah, I was just saying, yeah, so you listen to a lot of people and you get, often you get one bit of gold nugget or one takeaway. And then
Yeah,
sometimes you can find somebody who's like 10, 15, 20 years older than you, who's living the life you want to live, and they become a
yeah,
blueprint then. That's what happened to me in 2017. So before that, I only ever took a little bit of gold here or there, something I thought, oh, I'll take that and I'll adapt that into my system. But now I got a bit of a blueprint with, I met somebody who's living the sort of life I'd like to live. So it's a good sort of role model, if you like, somebody to aspire to be like.
yeah. And if you take, let's say, Tools of Titans from Tim Ferriss or 5 a.m. Club for Robin Sharma, all the successful people. I mean, you're picking their brains at the end of the day. I mean, they're living that life that's in the spotlight, that probably don't have money problems, whatever problems they might have in their life. But we just take a little bit of everything, read their books, listen to their books. Why not take a little bit from there, take a little bit from there, and you can just build your own legacy after that. And I never used to do stuff like that. And yes, like I said, in this time of the confinement and the lockdown, basically said, listen, yeah, time for changes now. One's career's coming to an end. Why not do little stuff? And it was difficult. I mean, 3-4 months in the home, you'll find you're going up, and you fly and you follow every little detail, and then you fall back again. But you just need a good support base for you to get back on it. And I find if you speak to people, if you listen to podcasts all the time, it's just easier to get back on that horse and start riding again. And obviously, if you want to change, you want to make little stuff work for you, you'll make that happen 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Well, obviously you got a sports mentality. I played a lot of sports when I was a kid, so I got the same mentality. But I applied mine in professional sales then, rather than professional sport. And
Yeah,
sales is always about improvement, self-improvement. You can always sell more. You can always get better. And it's the same as sport. You can always get quicker. You can always get faster. You can always perfect, your styles of play and your ball skills and everything, and it's that mentality to always compete and always be better and stuff. And I think that's where you've gravitated towards personal development, and that's where I have as well. It's, you can always be better. You can always improve on where you are now.
yeah, 100%. You can always learn from anybody.
Yeah,
Just what I used to do at the Dragons is I'll always stay till I'm the last player there after a game and spend a little bit of time with the supporters, spend a little bit of time with different people, talk to them, learn from them how they do stuff, and ask questions. Well, my mom told me when I was little, if you're not going to ask a question, you're not going to know what's going on in life.
yeah,
So I'll ask the questions. It might seem so random for the people that are asking us all these questions. I'm a professional rugby player, but yes, I do that, and I try to take on board as much as I can. I started working at Clarity Copiers in Wales on my off days. It was hard. All the other players slept in and recover. I put on a suit or put on some a pants and a shirt to go do some cold calling, because it's something that I was not used to doing.
yeah,
Different comfort zone, different area of stuff for me to that I reached, and people that I met, and I know a little bit of that now as well. And
yeah,
even now
yeah,
here in France, my priority is to learn the language as quick as possible. So after games, I can actually speak to people, because over here it's loads of people, loads of sponsors. Where back in the UK, you get loads of, or not loads of sponsors a team, but the sponsors are big. Over here, you get 30, 40 sponsors per team, but it's not as much. But all the enterprises are there after a game. The wine's flowing, the cheese boards are there, the oysters are there. So it's a good ambience. See?
yeah.
So for me, I've been at 4 or 5 tables now after games with my broken French, and my goal is to end of this half of the season, by end of the year, by Christmas, I want to write my B1 French test, and that means I can get a 10-year visa, work visa over here, and then if I can have a third language on my name, I can maybe start the intro biz in France for you.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, that's always available. There's there's opportunities with Interbiz. I got other opportunities as well. I've just joined a thing called Virtual Power Networker, which is
Yeah,
I've partnered up with another power networker from the southeast of England, and he basically sets up WhatsApp groups for different people in
yeah.
different businesses and that to virtually network online, but via WhatsApp.
Oh,
So that's
lovely.
really good. So I've joined that now as well, and that's global as well. And like
Yeah,
the more you've got contacts in Wales, contacts in France, obviously original contacts in South Africa, the more you'll be able
yeah,
to put people together who can potentially do stuff on a global basis. And you never know when when an opportunity arises, like when the more people you know, the more opportunities arise.
Yes, and that's just the little stuff that I like, spending time with people, speaking to them, connecting people. I mean, I've learned it through the networking I did with you guys, with Clarity Copiers. It's just, I mean, the world's a oyster. Just speak to people. You've got nothing to lose, and you make connections through that 100%.
Yeah, I know Des from Clarity Copiers. I used to work with him a long time ago. I've been to a few of their networking events because they used to have networking events in Bridgend before they moved to Newport.
Yeah, the Bridgend Rugby Club at the back there.
That's right, yeah, and they got quite a few ex-players working for them and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah. So Lee Byrne was there before me. Jason Foster was there. I was there on a time like a 1 day a week basis, just to introduce them to the business world. I'm not sure how they're doing now, but I'm actually back in the UK the 3rd to the 9th of August. So I'll definitely see the people over there and just say hi and see how it's going. Because we've seen each other once a week for the last 5 years basically. So it would be rude not to pop in and say hi and have a little bit of coffee or something like that.
Yeah, definitely, and I know they're big rugby fans and rugby supporters, etc. So so good. I didn't know Lee Byrne was there. I knew the others you mentioned, but I didn't know.
Yeah, Lee Byrne was there for about, I want to say 6 months, I think, before I got there. Because obviously we started at the Dragons 2014 the same time, and Lee Byrne moved on to that because he had a shoulder injury his first season. Then he moved on to that, but then he moved on from there later.
Because he's doing construction now, isn't he? I do see him a bit. He's been to an Intrabiz event, and I think he's partnered up with another Intrabiz member on he does some construction work and stuff.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So he seems to be doing all right.
Into construction as well. I think I saw some of his partners at a rugby Q&A night evening once at Celtic Manor.
Yeah. Do you manage to get back to South Africa much?
We were there for Christmas last year. The first time in 6 years we were Christmas all together with my family over there, because obviously in the UK we play that time of year. It's the busiest time in a Pro 14. So we went back in Christmas for 2 weeks. And then, it's just obviously the lockdown and the COVID wasn't here. It's an opportunity for my family to come explore Europe as well. They've been to Wales and the UK a few times now in the 6 years. And my in-laws was here already. So, they were due now, actually. They would have been here if the COVID wasn't here. So, not as much as one go back once a year, but it's a good opportunity for the family to come over and experience some other wine than South African wine, because I still think South African wine is the best, but obviously I've got a good experience now. Yeah,
definitely. And you got kids as well, haven't you?
Little 3-year-old boy, turning 4 November, born in Cardiff. So he's a little Galwa, South African Welshman in a French school over here. So
I was going to say, has he picked up the language a bit quicker than you?
He has. Before the lockdown, he basically understood everything because he started school last year in September. He understood everything, but then obviously in the house 4 months, they only spoke Afrikaans to him, so he lost a little bit of that now. The schools reopened now for 2 weeks, and then they went into summer holidays, so that didn't really help as much. No. But that's one of the reasons we're going back to the UK now. Obviously, we've got loads of teammates and friends over there with kids the same age as him, so he can't wait to see them and go play and speaking a language that they actually understand.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Dragons have still got some games left as well, haven't they?
They're going to play in the European now, Bristol, I think in September as well. And then whatever, they went up there, they're going to play finals. And then the league won't start long after that. But I know they play 2 derbies as well, Scarlets and Blues, I believe.
I think that's the first game, isn't it? The first game back now, there's derbies everywhere.
Yeah, 2 derbies to set them up for the quarterfinals then.
Yeah, good. And obviously you work for a number of coaches and that. What's the best sort of golden nugget you've picked up off a coach you work for? In mentality, rather than in sport and the actual gameplay, in sort of mentality or something like that, something more.
When I was at university still, he was actually the forwards World Cup winning coach, Matt Proudfoot. He's with England now. He was always hard on me personally, because he can identify quality in a player, and he was just always like, stop feeling sorry for yourself when you have to work to get somewhere. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah, if you want to reach the top, you got to work there. It's difficult to get up top, but it's even more difficult to stay there. So just keep on going and don't ever feel sorry for yourself. The world doesn't need you. The world doesn't owe you anything.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
100%. Yeah, and he's a good man. Loads of people respect him, and he did a great job with the Box in the World Cup now. And surely he'll turn England's back into a dominant force as well.
Yeah, South Africa. You got to talk about that and the World Cup because they did a big turnaround, didn't they? Really, they weren't in that much form. Even Wales were beating them quite easily in the autumn test and stuff
I believe, yeah.
for a
I think
couple of
Rusty had
years.
them a year and a half before the World Cup because Rusty was at Munster. He coached them with Jacques Number. They all went back to South Africa. He makes Siya Kolisi the captain. And he's one of the guys as well. He kept Matthew Proudfoot in his coaching team as well. So obviously he identified qualities in him as well. And I think that's what Rusty does as well. He identifies qualities in players. He gives them the powers. They've got to have the senior group. They're a little bit younger guys, but they work so well together and they're accountable. They're really, really accountable for each other. And that's the main thing in professional sport and in business as well, I believe, accountability. If you can meet yourself and meet your standards and work for that standards, and you've got your team around you that actually got the same goals, the same values as you, you have to be successful. I believe that.
Well, it's the energy, isn't it? When you've got a team working together, it's not 15 people then. It's the compound effect of the energy of that teamwork bouncing off each other and all pushing in the same direction. And that's why, like in sport, there's always, massive upsets from time to time, like Leicester winning the Premier League. Sometimes you can just get that magic ingredient of sort of energy and passion and like Wimbledon. I don't know if you know football from a long time ago, but they called it the Crazy Gang when they beat Liverpool in the FA Cup, and they were all a rabble of players and whatever, but they just seemed to have that sort of mentality and the camaraderie, and that's how good teams can win sometimes.
I think that's why rugby players struggle after rugby because that's all we know, to be in a group like that, feeding off each other, picking up each other if one's down. I mean, I've been doing this for 13 years now. So to find yourself in a good team, in a good place, and obviously you pick up a lot of traits along the way as well to look for stuff like that and to see who's the energy sappers, who's the energizers in a team. So if you go to rugby and you go to a business where you're all alone, that's going to be really, really difficult for you because you've got nobody to feed on, nobody to feed your energy, to pick you up when you're down, to pick them up when they're down. So that's the main thing. But yeah, that's something we love, and the camaraderie and the sportsmanship between the guys. And obviously it's players playing for the same positions and all stuff like that. So it's always competition, and that's really, really important. That's really important. I can still play, and every player that's still playing at 30, 40, or not probably 40 is a bit old, in their 30s, it's just you want to be better. You want to be better. If you stop trying to be better, you might as well stop, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. I would say mentality, and I played a lot of sports when I was a kid, including rugby, and obviously I work on my own now as well. That's the reason I go networking, for that same camaraderie. It's that team. I'm actually doing 8 events a week at the moment because it's all online. Because I can probably do 8 events online in the time that I would normally do 2 events a week in the real world.
Yeah. No, that's 100%. And I know people in South Africa, some of my friends that work there in high bank posts and stuff, they actually said they don't even have to come into the office anymore because this 3 months they spent at home and working from home, it benefited them so much, and they don't have to rent this massive building anymore. They go in once a week for meetings, or otherwise they just do it on Zoom, or they do it on the network. It's a lot better for them as well, and they actually got more productive time out of their stuff and out of the time on the internet. And if that's the future, I'm not sure. Obviously still need the face-to-face connection, otherwise we will all be competing today.
I think before this situation, there was a massive cry, for global warming and green and all of that, and I think things were going to change anyway towards travel as much and stuff. I think people were going to travel a bit more, for their holiday and for important meetings, and start to wind it down a bit, I think. And I think this Zoom now, and the fact that everyone knows how to Zoom and can Zoom, is just going to accelerate that. And actually, the planet and global warming and all of that is probably one of the winners of COVID.
Yeah. 100%. You see a lot of the fake news as well, where the dolphins was in Venice and all that stuff. Well, you don't have to believe everything you read, but actually from the photos you find global warming wise. Let's look at India, let's look at China, all those places with all the mist up in the air and you couldn't even see the mountains anymore. I mean, that's great. That's 100% great.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Air travel, all the pollution, intoxication going on from that. I mean, probably the way Mother Nature told, listen, yeah, we're going backwards too fast now. Let's hold on a little bit and we get stuck on the right path again and let's move forward.
I'm a big believer in Mother Nature doing her resets. I think, if you have a look, it's cyclical. Mother Nature always seems to send something when it needs to sort something out. And, this planet's been around a lot longer than we have. And we think we own it, but I don't think we necessarily do. I think we're just gatekeepers.
We think we own it and we do what we want, but that's not the fact. And if you look into history, she rocks you up every few years and then everything goes better again for about 100 years and there's all of a sudden a big thing happens again. So hopefully we learn from this.
I think the message has worked. I think the message has come in loud and clear, and I think people are going to adhere to it, and it's probably helped. This reset has helped people out in the long term, made people friendlier and better and more caring and considerate towards each other and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. We should hope that. Well, there's two ways of everything, really. You can learn something from it. You can be negative from the side. That's what I believe as well. So, if you're going to take the positives out of it, you want to make it a better place. You make yourself better, make the people around you. But you will, like you said, your passion is to help people and be a good person for people to learn from and stuff. There's other way of stuff going as well in the country. I mean, you get people that complain all the time who do all that stuff. So. For you, and I believe I would, if I can be an example for people around me as well, if you can just touch one person per week, one person per day, if you're really, really active and you change them to the positive side, try to help people and try to grow. And at the end of the day, if we can get everybody to grow a little bit every week, every year of their life, we have to have a positive change in humanity, won't we?
Well, yeah, that's it. At the end of the day, it takes leaders to show the way for other people sometimes. And, I just wish people would get out. This is why I'm quite glad of the COVID and that, because I think people are understanding true values again. And it takes leaders sometimes to show people the real value in life and the fact that, you don't have to just be stuck in the rat race and just work all the hours just to buy new PCs or new phones or new clothes and whatever, and just there's other ways and there's more important things on the planet than just buying stuff all the time,
happiness within you. Obviously, if a jet ski makes you happy, you've never seen somebody not smile on a jet ski. Or stuff like that.
I love that's what I have for birthdays and Christmases is experiences like that. I've done zip wiring, indoor skydiving, trampolining, riding around a track, in a rally car. I'd much rather experience something that you can remember forever than have something that you're just gonna wear for a year or two and then it's gonna be out of fashion.
Life experience, like you said, is vital for me as well. The other day I made a post, there's one of the challenges going on, and I've been obviously in Wales, I'm playing in France now. Before that I was the Cheetahs in South Africa, and one of the people commented, "Oh, you've been all over the world already with your rugby." I don't know if he had a dig at me or whatever, but I was like, listen, in those 10 years that I've traveled so much, how many great people and great cultures I've come across, and all the stuff I learned. I invite you for a little beer or coffee afterwards and we can actually have a chat about this. And life experiences for me, for my family as well, it's a way to go. I mean, we have my landlord stays across the road from me. We spend 2-3 nights a week with them. We make them South African food. They make us French food, and it's just lovely. They take us places, and there's so much culture in the south of France over here, and it's just a good way to spend the life. And fortunately, I can still play around, get a salary for playing rugby, and live a good life.
Yeah, that's it. And it seems to be everyone heads to the south of France, or at least France, but to finish their rugby career these days. Actually, some of them don't do it to finish their career. They do it right in the middle of their career as well, because it's a good life.
If you can go to a Toulouse or a Toulon or Clermont in the middle of your career, at the beginning of your career, well, it's a good move for your future, 100%. yeah, some of the stuff going out there is crazy. Unfortunately, that's not everywhere. And most of the pro rugby players that you speak to will probably tell you this. Only a handful can actually just retire straight away after rugby. I know in South African rugby, there's not a lot. Probably not in Wales as well. You definitely have to start networking, meeting people, broaden your horizons, stuff like that as well. But yeah, opportunity, wherever you go, I believe you can get opportunity from, meet the right people, connect the right people, and doors have to open for you 100%.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine does property development training courses and stuff. She tends to deal with quite a few sports people, and that's always a good route to go down. Is going to get into the property game, because usually rugby players, because they had a bigger salary, they're used to borrowing or mortgaging bigger values for a property, which means that they can borrow more than the average person, so they can do bigger developments.
Yeah, 100%. Property is always good, especially over here as well now. I mean, you can get a loan now on between 0.6% and 1.5% if you want to borrow. I mean, that's not a lot. And something that some people do it in South Africa, but then the prime rate there is 10%. When I left South Africa, 10-12%. So if you borrow 100 grand over there, you're going to probably pay back 250 grand, which is crazy to borrow over here. But definitely UK, France is a way to go down to. I've got a young South African over here that's just bought his third apartment here in the south of France. Not massively apartments, but because the rent's so low, the interest rate, he can ask his the monthly income that he gets from that just by basically pay his apartment off for him. He's 23 years old. I mean, head screwed on right, started young. He's got another 10-12 year career left on him. He said his goal is when he finishes, he wants 10 apartments paid off on the side for him, and 10 apartments for his business partner. I mean, if I knew that when I was 23, 21, I would have jumped on that wagon as well. But I was in South Africa, living the life over there, eating cows and eating biltong and all stuff like that. So yes, definitely. And that's people you meet. He's 23 years old. I can learn from him already.
Yeah, and also the books you read as well, because there's a good book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which get you into that mentality.
I downloaded that on my Audible, and then when you said leaders as well, the world needs more leaders. What I did, Robin Sharma, the leader with no title, I downloaded that as well. I'm keen on getting to listen as well. So it doesn't matter what you are, you're CEO or you're a big businessman or you're just a normal bloke working at Garfield. You can be a leader in your spot that you're in at the stage. I mean, you have to get across to people and influence them in a better way.
That's right. Yeah, another good one, because sales is one of the best skills you can have in life. The Psychology of Sales by Brian Tracy.
Oh, that one. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
That's really good. That one.
Brian Tracy, is it?
Brian Tracy. Yeah, he's the top sales trainer on the planet.
Okay, cool.
It's called The Psychology of Sales, because if you can sell, you can basically improve every aspect of your life.
Yeah, that's the way to go, exactly. And I believe people buy from people. So you need to be a good bloke to be a good salesman as well. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. Just having a good personality, being friendly, being helpful, that sort of stuff makes you a good salesperson anyway, because that's what good sales is not selling someone something, it's providing them something they need. It's helping them solve a problem.
Yeah, something that I learned from sales as well. If you're a salesman, you have to be a professional mind changer. Is that true?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm massively into psychology. I've been studying psychology all my life because I've been in sales since I was like 15.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, you are now doing all this stuff and selling better lives for people and being an example for people. I mean, that's the way forward. I adore that. That's what I try to do as well from my side. And if we're going to hook up a few people on our wagon, it'll be good for the world.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm conscious of time, so I don't want to keep you for forever, but just like to say thanks for coming on the podcast and talking a little bit about life in lockdown and France and bit of personal development and whatever. So, thanks for coming on.
Merci beaucoup. It was really, really good. Thanks for having me. Like I said, sorry about the few disruption with the internet. I don't know what was going on there. Since I moved to my phone, it was a little bit better. But yeah, I'm always here for you if you want to hook us up again. And if I can start a little bit of networking here in the south of France. Not a lot of English though, so we'll need to learn some French. But yeah, that's why I'm here.
I've been over to France networking. There is a network. It's based in Brittany, and they got a head office in Paris. And Intrabiz went over to France to do some networking as well as watch a Wales-France game in the Six Nations a couple of years ago. Right. So I could probably introduce you to them if you like. And
yeah, that'd be great.
And if any of your ex-playing colleagues or current playing colleagues have got any businesses or any opportunities they want to come on and talk about that on my podcast or on my YouTube channel, then direct them my way. I'm always happy to have interesting people and guests on my podcast to share knowledge and information to my audience.
100%, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll get a few names down and we can communicate on social media, and then we can go forward and try to help change the world step by step.
Exactly. Brilliant. All right, then. I'd like to say thanks for coming on. Then there's nothing else left for me to say now other than have a great day. I know I will. And thanks very much for listening.